Hi, and welcome to the Holly Tse Podcast, a show about expressing your brilliance with ease and flow. I'll show you how to take the woo-woo out of the clouds and apply it to real life for effortless action. This show is for world changers and future world changers, so if you know there's more to life and you're wondering what's next, this is your show. Hi, I'm Holly, your host. I'm a speaker, author, dragon spirit guide, and wearer of many hats. I teach about health and wellness and also about awakening so that you can find your voice and express your brilliance in the world with ease and flow. This episode is about worthiness, and you might wonder, what practical application does worthiness have? Well, let me tell you. You often hear the saying about whether your cup is half empty or half full. And then extrapolating from that, there's the idea that you can receive more abundance from the universe if your cup is bigger. People give the example of going to the ocean and taking a little cup. You could have like a little thimble to scoop up water, or you could have a big bucket to scoop up water, and water being representative of abundance. So we're often told then that we should take a bigger container then to the beach. Now here's where people get stopped. Even though they're told they can take a bigger container, they don't take a bigger container. And why is that? It's because of a sense of worthiness. And by the way, you might hear a low rumbling sound in the background, and that would be my cat purring. He likes to join me when I do my Dragon Spirit podcasts, because when I'm doing these podcasts, I'm tuning into the energy of the universe, and that shifts my vibration so that it's at a higher frequency. And because I'm doing that, it makes it easier for you also to shift into this vibration and hear your own dragon spirit, your own inner guidance, so that you can express your brilliance with ease and flow. So let's get back to this topic of worthiness. If we do not feel worthy, we are going to take a look at all the containers available to us that we could take to the beach to scoop water from the ocean, and we are going to select the thimble. Now, I know people often work at personal growth, and emphasis on the word work. They work at it. They work hard at it to try to grow their container. And really what they're doing is they're taking like a little rubber thimble and stretching out a little bit more. What if you just took that thimble, tossed it aside, and of course we're not polluting into the ocean. We are making it metaphysically vanish into the energy ether, and we're going to select a much bigger bucket. One that you can fill to the brim and that has so much water in it that you won't need to go back to the ocean for a while. Yeah, and I know some of you are thinking, well, why even have a bucket? Why not just dispense with the bucket altogether? Well, that's a good point. And if you're listening to this podcast and wondering how to grow your ability to receive abundance, then you haven't reached that point yet. It's like our minds need steps, they need levels, they need to see a path in order to grow, because to go from thimble to inhaling the whole ocean, it's a little bit much for most people's minds, mine included. It's easier for the mind to make these shifts when we go in smaller steps and smaller increments, ones that the mind can adjust to. So today, this podcast is going to help you throw out your thimble, but instead of just diving straight into the ocean, you're going to get a bigger container. And you can listen to this podcast over and over, and what will happen is over time, you will keep reaching for a bigger and bigger container. So let us begin then with a Dragon Spirit meditation. Dragon Spirit is the voice within that craves adventure, exploration, growth, and excitement. And it also knows the most expansive answers to your innermost questions. So we're going to enter the Dragon Spirit space where you are most connected with your inner voice and the universe. So let us enter the Dragon Spirit space And we will do this by taking 3 dragon breaths. You will breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and I'll guide you through this. When you breathe out, though, feel free to let out any audible sound, any exhalation, a sigh, like a ah, if you feel like it. So let's begin. Place your hand on your heart. Bring your awareness to what's going on around you. Awareness of the physical body and the physical senses. What do you feel? Are you sitting on something? Do you feel that surface? What do you hear? What do you smell? Close your eyes, though, and let your eyes rest. And in doing so, notice, what do you see or what do you not see? And bring your attention inward into your body. What are you feeling? Where is there tension? Where can you release tension? How can you release that tension? And let us take those breaths now. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Relaxing your jaw and your teeth as you breathe out. And again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Easy exhale. And again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. One of the greatest fears to picking up a bigger bucket is the fear that you cannot handle that bucket. Now just think, if you had a physical bucket, one that was 10 feet tall, 10 feet wide, how would you carry that? It's too much, isn't it? Now let's make it smaller. Let's say it was 3 feet by 3 feet. You can carry it. But if it was full of water, it'd be quite heavy and awkward. And the idea of that, it almost feels like a burden. So part of the resistance is the idea that we cannot handle that bucket. And that's where worthiness comes into the picture. We are not good enough to handle that bucket. We do not have the strength to carry that bucket, or we do not have the resources to manage that bucket, to take it where we want it to go. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. Now, what if, as a child, you were always told that you were not good enough? You were criticized, perhaps, by your mother, by your father, by your sister, by your brother, by your friends, by your pseudo-friends, by teachers, by older relatives, by random strangers making seemingly innocuous remarks, teasing, thinking it's in jest. But you, as a child, you took this all in. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out, easy, relaxed. And if you want, you can rest your hand. You don't need to keep it on your heart any longer. But if you feel like it, go ahead and do so. Breathe in, easy breath. Breathe out, natural breath. I want you to remember the first, let's say, betrayal that you remember as a child, where you were looking to an adult to perhaps protect you or bolster you or keep you safe, and that adult failed to do so. So it doesn't have to be the first incident that you can recall, but just what comes to mind right now. What comes to mind? Breathe in, breathe out, because whatever came to mind in there is one of the kernels, one of the seeds of your unworthiness planted. This is embarrassing, but I'm being asked to share something that happened to me in childhood. And I see all these judgments about the idea of sharing it. So I want you to also, as I share mine, look at how you would feel or how you would express your story and what thoughts cross your mind and what feelings cross your mind and cross your heart as you think about sharing that story If you were to broadcast that story across the airwaves in a podcast, in a blog, where you told the whole world, not just your closest friends and family, but everyone knew this story, how would that make you feel? What thoughts would you think? Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. And by now I have hopefully created enough anticipation about my story. Well, here's what I remember. I was a young girl, probably about 5 or 6 years old, and I remember wearing orange polyester shorts. They were orange and white, and possibly I recall it incorrectly. They may have been green and white polyester shorts. But I remember they had like a sort of like a checkered pattern to them, or I believe it's called gingham. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. And one of the things that I want to point out to you is that I am here to be an example of imperfection, so that I cannot pronounce every single word in my podcast correctly. Then I may not recall everything correctly. Then I may even go off topic. That is okay. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. It is to show you that in spite of all of this, you are still listening. That you do not have to be perfect to attract people, to have people appreciate and listen to you. In fact, it is the imperfection that almost endears you to people. Do not let the judgment of the mind, the idea that perfect must prevail, that you must be perfect, because that stops you from moving forward. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out. Because how could you be worthy of receiving more if you're not perfect? And do you see how it's impossible to be perfect? So then you are not worthy of receiving more. There's a bit of flawed logic there, isn't there? And again, breathing in, relaxing where you noticed tension before. Easy breath out. So let me tell you this story. We know that I was wearing polyester shorts. Polyester back in the 70s was not this great a fabric either. It was all kind of itchy already on its own. And what happened was I sat down on the patio furniture. It was wooden. Normally there is like a cushion on the furniture, but on that day, this happened to be an event, a dinner barbecue that my parents were hosting, and they had their friends over. And what happened was I sat down on the chair, the wooden chair, on the patio. And very quickly, I noticed discomfort, because what happened was the itchy, scratchy texture of my polyester shorts met the wood, which had been out in the rain, which normally is covered by a cushion to protect a sensitive bum from sitting directly on the wood, because the wood was starting to splinter. So it was like taking Velcro and sticking it to Velcro. Basically, my shorts became this magnet for splinters, and then the splinters pierced my shorts and started to irritate my butt. And obviously, being 5 or 6 years old, I was very upset about this, and I began to cry. Now, being an adult, so picture a little child wearing their polyester shorts, sitting down on the patio furniture, and then they get a butt full of splinters. Now, you know that the child is fine. It's more just discomfort, and it's easy enough to pull off the shorts, and most of the splinters will come off with the shorts. So that's what happened. My mother took me aside, helped me change out of the shorts. But where I felt the betrayal was that all the adults were laughing at me. So you can see as an adult how it could be humorous that a little kid's got a butt full of splinters. But as a child, it was humiliating. It was horrifying. It was embarrassing. It was confusing and baffling. I was in discomfort, a slight amount of pain, but to a child who rarely experiences pain, the prick of a splinter is enormous pain. So I was in pain. I didn't know what was going on. And the adults were laughing at me, not just within my family, but there were guests too. People that you expect to be on more polite behavior were outright laughing at me. And so, a seed was planted, a seed of unworthiness, that this child was not worthy of proper care and attention, that this child could not help herself and was reliant on these adults who were making fun of her. She had to turn to people for comfort, but instead they were causing her pain. Where the pain in her butt from the splinters was nowhere near the pain in her heart. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. And right now you're thinking of an incident, maybe from childhood, maybe from adulthood, but there's something similar, a similar theme where there is a sense of unworthiness, of not being good enough, not being good enough to look after yourself, not being good enough to be treated respectfully by others. There's something there that you took the situation and you decided that you were unworthy. It doesn't mean that you went from being super confident to total lack of confidence, but that something took you from a level of purity, of belief in yourself, to start hacking away at it. And so, instead of growing your belief in yourself, the seed was planted to grow doubt, to grow the sense of unworthiness. And every time another incident like this happened, it was like you were tending to that weed in your garden that was starting to take over the beautiful flowers and the meadow, and instead there was something sucking up the resources and taking you away from who you truly are. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. And I want to tell you something interesting. In that last part, just as I was sharing about this girl's humiliation, which is basically my story, the phone began to ring. And it is often in the dragon spirit space, just when you are going to get to the most pivotal moment of realization, that resistance manifests in a physical form. So put that bee in your bonnet and recognize that you may encounter this sometime over the next few days, because we are shifting your views on unworthiness, which is a big mind shift. So the mind will create resistance. And that phone ringing, which I've edited out, was not just my resistance, it was your resistance too. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. And that's okay. But remember that we're going from growing our weeds of unworthiness to pruning them back and revealing the beautiful wildflowers beneath the weeds. Now, some of you are thinking, yeah, but wildflowers are often considered weeds. Yes. Everything is not black and white. Sometimes those seeds of unworthiness can blossom into beautiful flowers, can turn into the strongest oak tree, the most magnificent willow tree. It is all in how we tend to them. Another interesting idea, isn't it? Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. What if you were always worthy? What if The only thing stopping you from picking up the biggest bucket to fill with the ocean's water is just a thought in your head. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. The thought that you are unworthy or incapable. Now we're going to jump back in time to that place, that memory that came to mind. Because in order to clear this memory, to flush it out of our mind's programming, we need to remember it. And we don't need to remember every exact detail. Whether I had green shorts or orange shorts, irrelevant. What matters most is how I felt. What matters most for you is how you felt. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out. So go back to who you were at that time and place. And feel what you felt. And if you feel nothing, go deeper inside your heart. Because if you feel nothing, all that is it's like an illusion, a smokescreen that your mind has created to try to protect you from the pain and the humiliation or the true sense of feeling unworthy. Really feel into it. We'll take a minute or two to do that right now. Continuing to breathe easy, slow breaths. Relaxed. How did it make you feel? Were you angry? Were you sad? Were you frustrated? Were you afraid? Were you ashamed? Did you feel guilty? Did you feel denigrated? Did you feel abandoned? Did you feel alone? Did you feel the world was against you? Again, just easy breathing as you tune into those feelings. Let them bubble up to the surface of your heart. You are in a safe place. And as you allow those feelings to blossom, imagine them going from this pain that you've buried deep in the ground to these flowers blossoming in a field. Feel how your heart is expanding as you do this, how you feel lighter, how there's not as much pain. It's almost like it's transforming. And as these feelings cover this field with flowers, this blossoming of release, do you feel as unworthy over the situation as you did when you first recalled it? Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. Could you consider, instead of taking a thimble and trying to stretch it out, you could pick up a bigger cup? What comes to mind? And whatever that cup is, you are worthy to carry that cup with you. You are worthy to receive the amount in that cup. And though your mind may judge that that cup is not big enough, therefore you have not thrown off your sense of unworthiness, that's okay. The point is the cup is bigger than the cup that you had before. And you can listen to this meditation again, and you will find that each time you will recall something else, that you will transform that pain into a meadow of flowers of release and worthiness, and you will reach for a bigger cup each time. And on that note, we're going to exit the dragon spirit space with 3 dragon breaths. So, Again, we'll breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So let us begin. Place your hand on your heart and let us breathe these 3 breaths together. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. Releasing any sigh or sound as you exhale. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out. And again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just roll your shoulders a bit. Slowly open your eyes and notice how you feel. Now, I'm always asking you to do this because when we are thinking and we're in our heads, we are not aware of our feelings. This feeling of lightness and freedom, this is your default setting. It's just that we often muck it up. It's like we're throwing stuff on top of ourselves to keep ourselves from feeling what our natural feelings are. And I can definitely put up my hand for that one. But it's okay, because if we were perfectly always feeling this perfect sense of perfection, we wouldn't be living. It is the striving, the journey, the process, that is the purpose. The attainment is temporary. It's an illusion. But the moments, the living, the here and now, that is existence. Not just existing, but that is the purpose. That is the truth. I know, very esoteric. What's the practical application, you may be wondering? The practical application is that you are okay just the way you are. You are worthy just the way you are. You don't have to be in some super Zen enlightenment stage, because that is taking you away from living here on this planet, from being and appreciating your physical body and being here right now. So that's the practical takeaway. And the other practical takeaway is that by allowing yourself to feel more worthy and reaching for that larger cup, you will start to see the circumstances and situations around you changing, where you're able to receive more abundance, so financial abundance, more opportunities coming your way, being able to receive compliments, being able to receive love. And it is a subtle shift, but you will see that, and you will observe it shifting. And that is the practical application. So thank you so much for joining me for our podcast. Your energy helps to create the podcast. We're co-creating this together. Isn't that awesome? So thank you for listening to the Holly Tse podcast. For more information, please visit my website at hollytse.com. That is HOLLYTSE.com. So I'll be signing off for now until we meet again. Bye.